Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into a very special edition of the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. We cover today's tech news, also a bit of geek news tonight. Special. It's very special because I've got a Mandalorian poster for celebrating Season 3, Episode 1, the release. And we are celebrating this together because one of you who is watching live at live.pirillo.com is going to get a $50 Visa gift card, courtesy of the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, Din Djarin himself, used the intergalactic exchange to basically send a $50 Visa gift card that one of you who is watching at live.pirillo.com will be receiving. So don't sit there and say, "Oh, Chris, you never do anything." First of all, I do plenty. Second of all, I mean, this is a big deal. I've been telling y'all to tune in, and if you have the chance to jump in and participate anytime, day or night, 24/7, a 24/7 geek out, 24/7 live arcade, everybody is welcome to join. So even if you do not happen to be the recipient of this $50 Visa gift card giveaway in conjunction with talking about The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1 spoilers, because we're going to be diving into spoilers. So if you want to avoid spoilers, and you shouldn't at this point, like it's been like over 24 hours, you should have watched it at least once. What are you up to now? What's your count, Glendon?
3.5. I was watching it whenever we started this.
I did not. I haven't had a chance to watch it a second time. I'm still on one. I'm sipping it like a fine wine, just not wanting to drink too much. Don't want to gorge myself on it. But I'm very happy that we have this opportunity to give number one, to talk about Star Wars, and number two, to be able to give one of you $50 on a Visa gift card to use for, I assume, Star Wars stuff. Like, I don't know what else you're going to buy.
I would hope
$50. So. You know what I'm saying, though? I mean, like, someone giving you $50. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that? You're going to buy Star Wars. That's what you're supposed to do. That's not a regulation. I'm just suggesting it would be the right thing to do, because otherwise you will be hurting the Mandalorian's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be starting off talking spoilers, Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. And it looks like it's going to be Glendon and myself. I had invited a few other people, but people get busy. It is what it is. And I'm going to pass the link along just in case, as a last ditch, just to make sure. Yeah, that was right. Happening now. I sent the link to everybody who needed to see it. All right. Well, they have been, quote unquote, warned. And so have you. Starting the spoiler talk in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was in a nutshell. I know some people are not happy with it. I don't know who. I mean, I know who they are, but I'm like, I don't know how you could be disappointed with that episode. It felt like a mini movie to me, like from the very beginning. And it was, I don't know what I was expecting apart from nothing, but the pacing was just so rapid that it felt like, I was getting caught up, right? Getting up to speed. I was already aware of what was going on. Grogu back in Mando's arms, after the episode of Book of Boba Fett. There are some people that I think I guess the pushback that I've seen, some of them have been the people who gave up on Book of Boba Fett, like episode 2. I'm like, you're missing out. They're like, well, it's too slow. I'm like, it's world building.
Yep.
It's character building. Like, this is not everything is supposed to be cinematic. Not everything is supposed to be in and out and done in 2 hours. And it's not to say that every one of these episodes could have been done differently, or any one of these series could have been done differently. But I think that's what I appreciated about Book of Boba Fett, for different reasons why I might appreciate The Mandalorian. So right away, we're thrust back into the action, and it was, I was like, I'm not going to say riveted, but it was exciting to see, what was happening with the armorer forging a new helmet. Now, initially, I don't know how you felt about this, but initially, I thought the initiate was Din. I thought
it was a flashback.
Okay. Yeah. So that was an interesting change up, because up until that N1 comes flying in, I was like, oh, it's Din, and this is an origin story. And but then bam. So I thought that was cleverly done.
It was
very clever. One person pushed back. They said they didn't like the design of the kid's Mando helmet. I'm like, it's brand new. Like it was, there was no battle damage. So he was upset that it looked like a toy.
Oh, come on.
So I
What
feel
else
that
is it
people are
supposed to look like? It was just painted. We saw it happen.
That's what I'm saying. It was brand new. So I was not put off by that at all.
No.
I thought that, obviously it was CGI work. This creature does not exist. But I thought that the biggest part of that segment was the fake out. That was that was the biggest surprise to me. Easily. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm pausing to make sure you can get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was not expecting that whatsoever. I'm like you, thought that it was a flashback. I thought that we were going to see, him get his initial helmet and take the oath. And then out of nowhere comes this massive crocodile turtle. And
right,
it was amazing. Yeah. That was some good CGI.
I thought it was amazing. Yeah.
There's some really good CGI, and you had some great battle scenes there with all the Mandalorians working together, trying to take it out and using their grappling hooks and detonators to no avail.
And I thought that was well choreographed in the sense that it was a battle scene, and it felt like, it was well done. Not like, I couldn't tell what was happening. There's too much motion. Like a lot of the Transformers movies from Michael Bay are just like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. It wasn't like that at all. I thought it was very well executed visually.
And there was some really good cinematography whenever he placed the detonator on the back and then flew up into the sky, and it had like a helmet cam where it was like looking back behind him.
Yeah.
That was a really, really cool shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. The idea, though, that we're getting a behind the scenes look and pretty much the largest look at the clan, that, if you'd call it that, right, that we've ever seen from the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to see all the various characters, including Pre Vizsla was there. Another reason I thought this, much like Glendon, I thought it was a flashback. So that was that was a good fake out. In a great way of starting this story with Din picking up and saying, hey, if I bathe in the waters on Mandalore, am I forgiven? And, reluctantly, the armor says, yeah, basically this is the way, right? And she's saying, yeah, I guess. But I feel, and I'm not saying there was any foreshadowing, but I feel, to jump to the end of the episode, I don't know if Din may do it, or by the time he gets there, he realizes he needs to basically found or basically reignite a new Mandalore. And I think that journey is going to happen, or I feel it would be a very interesting journey for Din to take in pursuing, like, the bathing in these waters, or touching these waters, and by the end of that, basically not aligning with Bo-Katan, but basically finding a new path forward for all of Mandalore that isn't the old way, that isn't a new way. It is a new way, but like, it's not the newer ways, it's not the older ways, it's a new way altogether.
Right.
And that was kind of similar to the arc that he had with Grogu, right? His whole mission was get Grogu to his kind. Then once that was achieved, well, then he felt something was missing. So I feel like for him to continue to, I guess, evolve as a character, as much as he's chasing down the thing he's familiar with, I feel by the end of season 3, he will have found himself and effectively help find a new direction for all of Mandalore and Mandalorian kind, not just those who believe in one thing or another. So less about dogmatic approach and just more like, this is our kind, this is who we are, this is our, we are a people from a variety of backgrounds, but we can start something fresh. And I feel that would be the most exciting journey that we as viewers could take with the Mandalorian season 3. Cena, glad you could join us. What did you think about season 3, episode 1? Never mind, he dropped out.
He's speechless.
He was there, and I popped him on, and then I realized he was the one that accidentally dropped out. He'll probably be coming back, because I guarantee CNUP definitely wants to talk about this stuff. Another thing that this is I wouldn't say the biggest spoiler, but and hello, Darth Gallum. It is good to see you. And before moving on, I do want to bring up Jay Harley's question. What was the biggest criticism of the episode? It was too short. It was so fast paced that it was done. Like I'm just like, wait, it can't end there. I mean, great things were happening, fun things were happening. I was interested, I was invested, but it just felt like a weird place to end it. And I'd say it was abrupt, but it just felt like it was complete yet not complete. And maybe it's because I had framed it mentally as like it felt so much like a movie that I didn't want it to stop. And I think that's the easiest way that I could frame how I was feeling specifically about the pacing of this episode, reveals in this episode, everything about the episode stem to stern. My biggest complaint is that it was too short.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was right there on the on the cusp of just feeling that something else was getting ready to happen, and then it just like that. It was it. I mean, it was fitting, like you said, the way that they did end it, and we'll get to that part of the spoiler here in just a few minutes. But it just felt like it needed another 10 minutes or so just to kind of to wrap it up a little different. That's my only criticism. I just felt like it needed another 10 or 15 minutes of the episode.
But the thing is, if they cut out 10 or 15 minutes to keep pacing, then it makes sense. Because you could breathe, but not that in such a way that you couldn't process what just happened, right?
Yeah.
You there?
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's no worries. It happens. So, what did you think before we continue to talk about everything about the episode? What did you think?
I liked it. I did like it. Would have wanted it maybe a little longer. But overall, pretty good. A pretty good setup for what the storyline's going to be, and what we're going to build on. So they've kind of laid that out pretty good. And lots of good action scenes in it. So overall, I enjoyed it.
It's hard to pick out a favorite moment, but if I were to pick out a favorite moment, and it may be jumping around, unlike Glendon, I have not, watched it more than once. The Purrgil, like this is specifically a callback to Rebels, and that may very well lead into what we see happening with Ahsoka. So I'm not saying the Purrgil are foreshadowing, but if you remember at the end of Rebels, and I'm sorry, but if you've not watched Rebels, you are missing out. Rebels is not, yes, it is a cartoon or an animated series, but it's every bit as Star Wars as anything. At the end of Rebels, Ezra and Thrawn basically get blasted off to parts unknown. And you remember in Mando season 2, Ahsoka was basically fighting on whatever planet it was, and then asked the person that was in charge of the city at that time, where's Thrawn? I believe Ahsoka and Sabine are going to be chasing down Ezra to get Ezra back. I think that's going to be the plot of Ahsoka, which would be an amazing way. You know what I'm saying?
I love it if that was the case.
Oh my God.
And that's why I think that the Purrgil is foreshadowing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that was my first thing that came to my mind is, we're going to see something tie in the Ahsoka series at the end of this season. Has to.
Yeah. We've already seen the crossover, right? So if you've not, if you've not seen Rebels, again, you missed out on this. It wasn't just a fan service. It was just huge. It was just like, oh my God, like it's Purrgil. Like I was just like, oh, you did the whole snap my fingers and pointed.
I gasped whenever I saw it. I was just like,
when you know.
Yeah.
That was to me. If I were to say there were a lot of good parts of the episode. That was probably my favorite. What about yours, Cena?
A favorite part?
Yeah, if you could pick one out.
Oh geez, let me think. Probably the part fighting that crocodile beast was probably one of the best parts there because it was done well done, like CGI wise and I thought at first that kid was actually like it was a flashback and thought it was Mando, right?
Yeah,
we were
said the
saying
same
the
thing.
exact
I think they
same thing
purposely
you
did
are.
that,
Yep.
right? So that
Oh yeah, yeah, they did.
they purposely did that so that you were even more surprised. Like, wait a minute, there he is flying in now. So this we're not looking in the past, because I thought we were looking in the past, right? So
It was great.
yeah, so it was a great kind of whoa. Okay, so we're not in the past here.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was a flashback for Mando, right?
Glendon, what was your favorite part?
The space battle with the pirates.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was my favorite.
Maneuvering and all that.
Amazing action shots and different camera angles with that scene in particular. And then, of course, they just blast away and they can't be caught because he's got the fastest ship in the star system or whatever, but in the galaxy. But yeah, it's that was pretty awesome. I think that was my favorite part.
The most exciting part for me that probably was knowing that they're going to bring back IG-11, because I was just like, no, that in the season before that whole thing with Mando and the way that they're able to do like that robotic scene of him taking out all the different pirates and stuff like that. I was like, this is just great, and then they had comic relief in there. It's like initiating self-destruct and and so I wanted more of him. And so when they melted him off, I'm like, oh no, but then they show him and then these like parts of him, now they're going to rebuild them. And I'm like, oh, this is great, because now I'm going to get to see more of them, because I wanted more.
Yeah. I was also, I felt like when they walked past the statue, right, and they paused and they looked, I'm like, oh yeah, IG-11, man. Oh,
Yeah.
And then he points up to him. He's like, I want him.
Yeah, and it was great because remember,
he's like, what's left of him?
but the thing is, remember at the beginning in season 1, right? He was like, no droids, doesn't trust droids at all.
Yeah.
So it was interesting that he's like, that's the one, right? So I think we will see IG-11. I thought it was. I'm glad they didn't just bring him back to life, right? If only so that we saw that. What are the characters' names? Not Andorian, Andaluvian. Begins with an A. I gotta memorize these. The Babu Fricks, basically.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
which
can't fix it. It's barking.
Brooke. Yeah, like.
Yeah, you can make it with some of the things he was saying. If you really listened, you could.
No more. He's barking.
But you didn't have to. And I thought Grief Karga, like translating when it was obvious, I was just like, it got funnier. Like every time he's like, I was like, okay, obviously Din could tell what he was saying, but then every time he kept translating, I was just like, oh God.
He was on his hands and knees poking his head in, translating.
I love it.
And then the last one, he just stops and looks at him. He doesn't even say anything, and he just slowly backs out of frame.
It was so good. I didn't, because normally, like, okay, we get it. He understands it, but he just kept playing it. I just felt like it was played very well.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was done very, very well.
Yeah. And then Grogu tries to pick him up and hold it like a doll.
Right.
And he's like, this one's crazy.
Right. See, I have to watch it again, because I mean, I've saw the details, but like I'm in the moment, right? I'm watching and like just taking it all in, so I know I'm due for another watch.
Darth Gallum, you're right. He does say it's a bad baby.
Bad baby.
I read an interesting thing on droids that kind of goes all the way through like the whole Star Wars timeline. Like in the original Star Wars, your droids have to wait outside. We don't serve their kind here. And there's a lot of people that are just distrustful of them and don't like them. And I've read somewhere not too just recently, and it just kind of like, oh yeah, that would be. And it has to do with the Clone Wars. And because of the war, a lot of people don't like the droids because of that. And so they hold a grudge against that and don't like them. Right. They keep hitting that home all the way through. Right. So even in Mando, he doesn't like droids, right? But, and then you've seen it in the original Star Wars. It tells the droids that they have to wait outside and we don't serve their kind. And they're treated poorly by some people.
Yeah, well, it makes sense if you remember Mando when he had the flashback hiding under the house. It was a super battle droid that was about to take him out.
So that theme runs all the way through Star Wars because of the Clone Wars, right? And so they always touch on it.
I don't
When
know.
I
If
read that, I'm like, why didn't I ever piece that together? I'm like,
I
yeah,
can't
that
believe I
might,
never did that.
yeah, but that would totally make sense. You know, you've got all these droids that are raiding worlds and people are, you know, death and all that because of that. And everybody kind of blamed the separatists about the war to begin with, right? So
Right.
it just continued on, right? So, and then like you say with Mando, that, you know, he had to hide from them when they were attacking everything too. So they just keep hitting that home all the time. That's the reason why there's a lot of people that just don't like droids.
I thought Moss Face was interesting. The head pirate.
Yeah,
Like I was
Swamp
like,
Thing.
that was an interesting creature design. Like I'm because it looks like not just moss, but like leaves. Like the creature can organically grow plants out of its body. Like that.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. It was reminiscent of the trash heap from Fraggle Rock. I've seen that you know correlation, or Pizza the Hut, or you know something like that.
It,
But like,
it feels a little bit to me because I read the Hyde Republic and the Drengir are like a plant-like creature too. So I wonder if they took a little bit of that. They're obviously not Drengir, but it's again like a plant-like creature or alien.
Mhm.
yeah, which we just don't see. You don't really. So at first I wasn't sure about it. I'm like, that's an interesting choice. And then I was like, you know, actually, he's a pirate, right? And like, so it's got this rogue-like look, and the fact that he is a plant, I think just makes it different. It's a new alien, right? An alien species that we have not yet seen. And I always get excited when there's a new alien species. For, you know, I'm used to the, you know, seeing the, you know, the Twi'leks or the Aqualish or the Quarren. You know, we see enough of those, or Nikto, Barada, all in the lot.
I'm ready for more newer aliens too. Some more creativeness there.
Now, I'm not going to say it approached the creativeness of. I'll say this: the alien creature design in the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special and in Ant-Man Quantumania were off the charts. Like 11 out of 10 for the two of those. Like they just, again, those two I feel knocked it out of the park for creature design. I don't know who the lead is on that, but man, it blew me away. The creature design in both of those bits, right? The holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ant-Man Quantumania. But you know, I always, you know, it's Star Wars, so you know it's a Star Wars alien, so I get happy because I think there's never going to be an action figure, I'm sure, but still nice to see. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of any other parts that really jumped out at me for this. But you know, I don't. Is there any other? But as I'm thinking, any other things jump out at you that you wanted to talk about that were interesting, compelling, exciting, at any step of the episode? And I'm sure we've covered like 90% of it, minus, you know, Grogu spinning around in the chair and using his force push.
Yeah, that was cool.
Snacks.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that you can see the chainmail under his little robe.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
He's wearing it.
Yeah, you can see the collar of it underneath his the neckline. So you know he's wearing it. And that was
did they mention like it's not made out of Beskar, is it? The chainmail?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it's
Beskar. I forgot whether it was or not.
Yeah, I think that was the knob that was melted down.
Am I
wrong?
It was the knob that was melted down.
Right. See, I've only seen all these episodes once, so I'm trying to rerun through them all again. Like I already did Obi-Wan over again, and I'm halfway through the Book of Boba Fett again, and then I'll want to run through Mando again once Mando is done.
Yeah, you see the armorer make the chainmail in episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett.
Any other standout parts?
Well, I think we covered a lot of it because it was quick. It was a.
There is one part whenever you get to the end of the episode and he flies to her castle and it's completely empty and devoid of anybody except for her and one droid.
Yeah.
So since she was not able to retrieve the dark saber, everybody abandoned her.
Yeah, it's And she's basically, well, take up the saber and they'll follow you and do whatever, right? And
Yeah,
she's just
like,
kind
wave it
of
around and they'll follow you.
It's almost like she's kind of sulking about it, right?
Well,
she was.
And I think she'll come around. I think Bo's going to play a part. It's a given.
I'd like to know how she's going to be able to, like, she'll be wielding that saber at some point. I just don't know what the loophole is going to be that she's going to be able to.
I don't think that it's going to be Din that's going to be the leader of the Mandalorians. No, it's going to be somebody else.
I think it's Bo. I think they're setting up for Bo. Like I said, I feel the arc of the season is going to be the passing of the mantle, if you will, of like the leadership, right? Or if the dark saber, and effectively establishing a new kind of Mandalore, because it's just there's nowhere to go but up, right? It's destroyed. It's apart. But to basically call out and say, if you identify Mandalorian here, we're establishing our home world again. So because that was foreshadowing where it was suggested that there's nothing there, but how else would Din have picked up the artifact, right? That had the runes. So I think we're going to see a brand new Mandalore at the end of this particular season, or I'd like that. I'll say I would like to see that at the end of the season. I'm happy to see wherever it goes, whichever direction it goes. But yes, I've got the giveaway is now open and active. Anybody and everybody who's listening, just type in "bang ticket" to enter, ! ticket in chat. This is your chance. I'm not saying it's your one and only chance, but again, I have to thank Din Djarin and Grogu for furnishing not just the poster. This is open to anybody in Glendon, CNOOP. It's anybody. I'm not going to enter because I think that's not.
No, I'm not going to enter. I'm good.
No,
it's okay. It's y'all. I don't think anybody's going to say hold anything hold that against you. I certainly won't, and I won't put up with that. But yeah, I'm very grateful that Din and Grogu sent the $50 Visa gift card for this very special TLDR. Normally in TLDRs we don't give anything away except for our insight and our time, but tonight it's $50. So bang ticket ! Ticket. This Visa gift card is basically for anybody. If you live in a country where you can spend Visa or spend on Visa cards, then you qualify. That's kind of the bottom line, because it'll be an electronic gift card. I won't have it immediately, but I'll just basically get I'll get a hold of you after all is said and done.
So do you think that this ship of his is going to be pretty much it now? Like, he'll never search for another Razor Crest again like he was? He's kind of moving away from being a bounty hunter, so he really doesn't need the room for the cargo hold and all that sort of stuff. I miss the Razor Crest. I like that ship a bit better. This is interesting. It's a hot rod, and he's like, it's a muscle car type of ship, right? And
he may get, if he gets home, then I can imagine him rebuilding a Razor Crest or putting something together again. But I feel like for him to zip around from point A to point B, I'm pretty sure it's the N1 indefinitely.
Yeah.
And we've another question came in from I just caught it. Who just Darth Gallum asked, but would the Night Owls really completely abandon Bo-Katan? I mean, if it's dogma, this is where I feel it's going to come to a head, right? You've got the dogma of, the sect that Din came from. You've got the dogma of the sect that, if you call it, if I can call it that in general terms, that Bo stems from, and the ideas of what Mandalore is. I feel those two are going to come to a head, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? I think they're going to clash, but then realize, hey, dude, like, we've got a shot at, let's just make this new. Forget it. This is the way it's going to be moving on. Like, that's, let's make it what we can make it today, because otherwise none of this makes sense. We're just fighting dogma. We're just fighting these religious wars, and that's not going to get us anywhere. So theoretically, that's how it could play out. And I feel that's how it would make sense for a new Mandalore to be established, because they've got to be able. Everyone has to eschew the past in order to move forward. You've got to you got to say, all right, cast off the shackles and decide, hey, this is what's going to work, and we're gonna have to figure this out as we go along. But for that to happen, you are now recognized as the legitimate leader, and maybe then, instead of it, fighting, you fight to the death as a Mandalore, you basically get the Darksaber by that. Maybe it becomes, no, now you get it because it's bestowed upon you, right? And maybe there's a battle around it or something, but it's bestowed upon you. Kind of like, in Black Panther, they have to fight and do that thing, but ultimately the people have to decide. So I feel like it wouldn't be taking anything away, and if anything, would just speak to the evolution of the culture of Mandalore and being a Mandalorian. Because Din was not, I guess, adopted by, if I could use that term, right? He wasn't born of Mandalore. He was a child of Mandalore because they were just people who were individuals, but then they fell into this sect and identified as a Mandalorian. So Mandalorian isn't by blood, it's not by planet, it's by your beliefs, and beliefs can change. And certainly when you find that you've share an identity, right? Because remember, even the going back to the episode where Bo and Casca and Mando and Boba and Axe were all to get a meeting for the first time. There was that fight, right? Who's the true Mandalorian? So I think we're going to come back to that, and they're going to hash it out. They're going to have to hash it out if we expect Mandalore to effectively come together again.
Do you think that we're going to see a main antagonist, or is it going to be the two factions going against each other, and then at the end of the series, them having to come together against a common enemy?
So I think we're going to have several antagonists. Yeah. I think we're going to see the Empire, because Moff Gideon's not done. And even though he's off on his own, I mean, whether it's purging or some other faction of the Empire coming after Grogu on orders of Moff Gideon, right? Or, perhaps that's the directive that was passed on. I don't know. Maybe Moff Gideon, maybe there's a jailbreak. I don't know. But I think the Empire is coming after him. I think this pirate, and I can't remember the guy's name because it's brand new. But I think that's going to be a pursuit. And I think, the battles between the Mandalorians are going to carry us through. I think we're going to see that conflict all the way up until the end. I think those would be the big two. I mean, maybe there's more that's going to come out of this.
I keep hoping that, like, they really haven't addressed the reason why the Empire is so interested in Grogu, other than he's force sensitive, right? Well, and I feel like that's part of the cloning for Snoke. That there's something they want to extract from him. I've been thinking, I have had that feeling ever since they started that storyline that they're after him for something, right?
Right.
And I feel like I don't know how long the Mandalorian's going to go from the timeline right now. I think it's supposed to be 6 years after Return of the Jedi, right? So we've got it. I would love to see it go far enough that we start to see the rise of the First Order, right? And at that same point, I feel like with all of that, with the scientists and all of that there's something going on that they're trying to do with the cloning for Snoke.
Well,
they had several failures and stuff like that, and they need somebody force sensitive, and that's why they're after Grogu.
But I do believe that cloning is absolutely at the heart of it.
Yes,
it has to be.
Regardless,
it has to be, because why else? I mean, again, why else would anybody, like, certainly within the Empire or ex-Empire, like, want something like that? So yeah, that's and there could be
and that they there were several trials to get Snoke, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
I feel like it's going to tie. I guess maybe it's wishful thinking, but I feel like that could be what they're doing with it.
I don't think it'd be wishful thinking. I think if anything, it would just strengthen the posit of that's how it played out. You've got some people who are into just basically striking Rise of Skywalker from canon, but doing something like that would make it impossible to strike out.
Yeah,
like
it would.
So yeah, I would subscribe to that theory. I think that would be a reasonable thing to do, and it may even I'm not saying we'd hear from Palpatine. We've already heard from Palpatine in the Bad Batch.
Mhm.
So like it wouldn't surprise me if we get a little bit of that behind the scenes, especially with Moff Gideon being explained as is being locked away, right?
Mhm.
It's possible. I think it's possible and it's plausible.
Yep.
Easily. And no, you did not miss the giveaway. If you're still interested, bang ticket to enter. And we're going to be giving away that gift card to one of y'all. And thank you for participating. And you know, with rap and we can come back to this, but that's everything I've wanted to say. Thought the soundtrack was great. I thought the score. I thought, you know, pacing was fantastic. The setup was great. Everything about it was wonderful,
Yeah.
to the point where the biggest problem was that it was too short.
They
Because
made a quick point too to tie up the loose end with Cara Dune as well, right? So she's off as special forces now. So
right, they needed to.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
It only needed a couple lines to just kind of say, where is she now? And that's it.
And honestly, they probably didn't even need to do that.
No.
To you know, to say, well, obviously things are changed, right? Things have changed, things have
Mhm.
evolved. Interests, you know, veer left or right. I mean, it's good that they did it, but I feel like I didn't even need it. Was like not out of sight, out of mind, but it's just completely like, okay.
It's kind of nice that they put it the way they did, not just kill the character off, because that might have been salt in the wound a little bit more, maybe.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't. Okay, so now all that we'll be doing the drawing here. So you got to be here when we do the drawing. You must be there. You must be present to be that recipient. But I want to start diving into a little bit of the tech news, if y'all don't mind. I don't think you do, because we talk tech every night. And this is tech, but it's also pop culture. I mean, that's kind of the live.pirillo.com experience. But before we get too far away from Mandalorian, I want you to go to Google and type in Grogu. Go ahead and Google for Grogu or Google for Mandalorian, and then double click Grogu. Did you do it? Did it?
I did.
So
neat.
Nice
That's
little
very
over
cool.
there.
Cute.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
He like moves things around, tosses them down.
Nice.
Has fun. He's eliminating, ruining everything. Which is great. Much like a child should do or would do. He's gonna keep going and going and going and going. See, these are the types of things that, as much as I would love for them to keep him, there's no way. Like, there's no one would ever search for Grogu. They're only going to do this for a brief time, but
Yeah.
this is one hell of an Easter egg, I feel. This is cool. So for anybody wondering, what does Star Wars have to do with tech? Well, first of all, amazing tech was used in the production of the episode, illustrated by both of the high action scenes at the beginning and the asteroid chase scene, which would rival any asteroid chase, you know, that Star Wars has ever produced. But there you go. There, Google. You can Grogu Google.
Not to mention, like the original Star Wars, Lucas was inventing technologies to make the movie, right?
Make it all possible,
Yep.
pushing the envelope, for sure. Now, really shifting gears, YouTube video apparently causes Pixel phones to instantly reboot. This is going to be fixed. This is an issue that has happened to other devices in the past, but apparently it's a thing. It's a very bizarre thing, but it's a thing nonetheless. If you have a Pixel, and I know some people do, just be a word of warning. The Google Tensor chip seems to choke on a 4K HDR clip of Alien. So it's an interesting bug to have run across if you have it. The next bit of news that we have, Samsung is filing trademarks for Galaxy glasses, an AR VR headset, and Galaxy Ring, which is interesting to me. I've gotten used to wearing a smartwatch. I could probably get used to wearing a ring even more if it provided the same thing that I use for. I mean, I don't know if I'd get the readout on a ring, but some people wear rings for health tracking. Certainly less obtrusive than a watch. I would consider potentially moving from a watch to a ring. I don't know if I'd wear both personally. But I think you're going to see this race heat up, the whole AR VR headset race, as Apple is staged to reveal their reality headset, whatever the hell that's going to be called. I'll definitely be interested in seeing who can execute the best. And I don't, I know there are people who have, or companies that have released these types of headsets, VR, AR headsets, but who's going to be the best? That remains to be seen. So I feel like competition will make everybody better. I feel like this is far more attainable or far more real than, let's say, the metaverse, this nebulous idea of the metaverse. But the what they're talking about with the AR VR headset or glasses, I feel we're getting there. So I would love to see that happen, if only because you're gonna have Apple doing its gear, right, its headgear, but then other companies being able to produce more traditional glasses that provide similar types of experience and maybe potentially more mobile. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but my dream has been to be able to have prescription lenses and like a nice frames, and then be able to see the time or be able to see the weather and be able to get, critical information. And we are inching towards that as a future. So it's good to see that Samsung's throwing its hat into the ring. I do use Samsung devices at this point in time. Well, whether or not that happens continuously, I'm not sure. I don't know where that's going to go eventually, but I thought that was an interesting announcement to see that they filed for it. I don't know. Are y'all bullish about the AR headset thing?
Not really.
I'm interested in what the use case is going to be other than gaming. Because from what I understand, that's not the use case for it. There will be gaming for it, obviously, but the main use case. So are they going to try and sell it off as, no longer need monitors, right? You can just sit at your desk and you'll just look at your virtual monitors with these on, and this, like, are they going to sell it that way, that it's part of work? You'll be able to look around and everything's like augmented reality, right? So you're sitting at your desk, but you're looking at a virtual screen and you can move things around. That is interesting to me if it's executed well. But otherwise, it's unknown right now what they're mainly going to be kind of using it as a use case to say, the main selling point of it. Because if they're coming in to say, hey, it's gaming, which I don't believe it just is, but if they were doing that, then they're another one of these people that you weren't first to the table. You might be able to do it better. You might be able to pull in, but you're quite a ways behind the curve with what is being done out there right now. And plus, Apple, you're still not, in the lead for gaming at all when it comes to any of that stuff. So I really feel like it's some sort of productivity type of device. Just what, I don't know.
How you feeling, Glendon?
I feel the same way. I think that it's going to be something more geared towards productivity as opposed to gaming. Like you said, they're probably going to throw in some gaming aspects, obviously for marketing reasons more than anything, I would imagine, because that will help move the device for sure. But I feel like that if that's the way that they're going, I'm not sold on it, because I want my regular monitor. This AR stuff's not going to be for everybody. It's still going to have the possibility to make some people sick. So I do feel like it's going to be geared towards productivity, but to me personally, it's never going to replace a monitor.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to replace it. I don't know. Well, not in this lifetime, but I could be wrong. More augment, more of an augment. Next article, Brave Search is introducing AI-based summarizer feature as a response to ChatGPT. Right. Oh, 900. Love you. So this is interesting. I'm a fan of what Brave is doing. I haven't used it in a few generations. I've seen a value in it. Brave is definitely worth taking a look at. Certainly. I'm pretty much straight up Chrome and have been for some time. I just found that some of the things that Brave was doing, I was just like, it's just not as interesting to me. But I like that Brave is at least doing something in this space, certainly with its native security and privacy features baked in, the ad blocking baked in, all of that happening at the app level is a smart reason to use it on the desktop. I just found that it wasn't. The design is what threw me off, and I know that sounds silly, but there were just so many things that it was like, it feels not dated. It just didn't feel as elegant as Chrome. And you'd think, it looks exactly the same. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't. And I've used it, but like just there's subtle touches that I feel it's a little blocky is the wrong word. Utilitarian is the wrong word. I just didn't feel as polished to me. The UI just it's too many straight lines is what threw me off. But I know I'm silly that way. Anyway, so it's available. They've got an AI summarizer feature, which is smart. It's nice to see. I'm glad Brave is doing it. And if you've not taken a look at Brave and you're looking for an alternative to a browser, Brave is every bit as of something that you should be paying attention to, no matter which platform you're running on, including iOS. Nintendo is going to be doing a whole they've got a whole month full of Mario related activities, because remember March 10th is Mario Day. I love how I think fans made that up. I'm pretty sure that came out of fandom, just like Star Wars Day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right with that. It wasn't a Nintendo thing that did it.
So they've got like a Nintendo Switch Mario Choose One bundle coming up, which is interesting. Your choice of a free Mario game download and stickers. Anyone that purchases a bundle can select one of the following games: Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, and from the My Nintendo store. The bundles are going to be available March 10th for a retail price of. So it's a special Mario Switch. So if you love Mario that much to get the Switch, that makes sense. A booster course for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. GameStop's going to have in-store Mario events. You can save on a variety of Mario games. Mario and Friends retail sale. Super Nintendo World opening officially. You can win a trip to Nintendo World. And then also there are different activities and videos on their website. So they've got mario.nintendo.com. They're set. They're ready to go. So there's the special Switch, the Mario Switch, the official home of Mario. He's a thing. So go to mario.nintendo.com. That's where you want.
Cool.
Cool.
Google is going to be working on a Pixel tablet specifically. They've been working on the Pixel, but they got the tablet that's going to be rolled out at some point in the near-ish future, and it remains to be seen where it fits, how it fits. The suggestion is going to be that it's going to become a home. Like there's going to be a dock that you can place it in the home, and then a person can pick it up and then use it as a tablet. Move around the house. I don't know if I'd do that here because screens have the propensity for getting cracked around here. So that's one of the reasons I'm very careful with the tablet. Even Jedi's tablet is like got reinforced glass on the front. Like there's just we're not going to get the tablet. This is just going to be too easy to break. I've seen these things just get shattered. I'm like, I'm not going to waste the money. No way in hell. Not around here. Not anytime soon. But a screenshot came from this tablet. This is what it might look like, or what it should be looking like. And I mean, standard looking Android tablet, experience, or at least the way that they're staging it to be an Android tablet experience. Then the interesting thing, you might say, well, why would I get an Android tablet versus say getting an iPad? One reason and one reason alone: multi-user support. Android's had it baked in for eons. Google, not so much. So if you're looking for a tablet, but don't want to just lock it down to one individual, this may be a way to go, so long as your family does not destroy screens. Unfortunately, I have a family that destroys screens like it's a feature. So it's like, I'm not going to spend money on screens that are just going to get shattered. Like there's no point. Not going to happen anytime. You break your screen, I'm like, I don't know what to say. You need to treat the technology a little better. And especially with something that's going to be moving around a lot, there's a greater chance of the screen breaking. So yeah, I'm not, I don't know if we are going to be the target customers for something like this. I've also got an Android tablet in the S7 Ultra. That's what it is, right? I use it let me get it set here. I use it primarily as a device that runs Samsung Dex. And they made a few changes with Samsung Dex recently that I didn't necessarily like. But Dex allows you to basically open up apps and run them. Let's see, what's an innocuous app I can open here? Let's open YouTube Music. Opens into a little window, or Google Translate opens up in another window, right? And then you can move them around. Sorry, right? So this is Samsung Dex. That's the experience. I don't know if the Google tablet's going to work the same way. Because they're not incorporating Samsung Dex, which is a little bit of a disappointment. Because this is, to me, this is where I feel Samsung gets Android tablets better than Google does. The Samsung Dex experience needs to improve by leaps and bounds. It's great. It's fine. But that's the type of tablet experience that I would want. The way that Google's probably going to roll out the Pixel is going to be more like the traditional Android experience with split screen apps. They'll be fine. It's just not the way that I prefer to use tablets, personally. So, I don't know. Are y'all in the market for a tablet?
No.
Nope.
I'm using the. I bought Lisa last Christmas a newer iPad, so I just kind of took over her older one, and I do have, oh my god, one of those Amazon. What do they call them? Yeah, I've stopped using it because the iPad actually works better.
Yeah.
If you think all your quims with iPad, try Amazon.
No, I know.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
I don't disagree. Amazon has it's the software experience for the Fire has always been lackluster.
Yeah. And the only time I ever pick it up is like when I'm one that takes a while to try to get up in the morning. So, I get up and maybe use the washroom or something, and then I have to crawl right back into bed. And then when I'm kind of coming to a little bit more again, I reach for the iPad at that point and I start, consuming news and stuff like that. Right. And then that gets me up after, another 15 minutes or so. So that's really the only time that I find it useful to have an iPad, or the rest of the day I'm on computers. Right. So
yeah, I'm iPad all the way. That's my weapon of choice. I did have a Pixel Tab years ago. I think I told you about that once, but
the Nexus, yeah,
the Nexus Tab 10. So it was a pretty good experience for the time. But there was a time period whenever Android tablets kind of took a nosedive after that, and before Samsung started producing, more on their own at the time. But no, Apple for me, as far as the tablet experience goes, I don't think that you can compete with the iPad, in my opinion.
I don't disagree at a high level with the iPad, because I used it for years and I liked that. I mean, it's functional and it works, but the problem that I had with the iPad was the software, and that's where I feel using the Samsung Dex experience on the tab has been absolutely outstanding. It's everything I wanted a tablet to be, and didn't realize it could be until I tried Samsung Dex. Like I said, there's one UI. I find it to be a glitch. It's an issue that specifically rolled out with the latest Samsung update. Not terribly concerning. It's not upsetting, but I just wish that it didn't glitch the way it does. I don't know if that's going to get fixed. It may just be a personal thing, but just the general experience of being able to open an app and have the windows side by side on a screen I would take that any day of the week. And it's a great screen. Like the high refresh rate is a must have. I find it to be a smoother experience certainly than the iOS experience. The only concern or problem that I have, and I'm not the only person that has a problem with it, the keyboard is kind of lame. It's not a great keyboard. It's pricey, and I mean it works well enough, but it's for the price, the price is not justified for this keyboard.
Hmm.
There are probably better keyboards for the Tab. That's the one thing that I feel Apple does better. The keyboard and the case with the iPad are better than the way Samsung has handled it. Maybe that's going to change, with the Galaxy Tab S9. I don't even know if I would upgrade. I mean, I'm still using the tablet. I don't know if I'm in a situation where I would upgrade to the next one, though. I don't know. Right now, it's got a place. I'm able to use it, but its primary use case is going to get sidelined within the next month or so. So I may even end up selling it and not having a tablet. Right now, it's just nice to have kind of an extra. Okay, here's an extra screen should I need it. But yeah, I mean, having a Pixel tablet will be, I feel, better for the average person so long as they price it accordingly. Like if they sell it for like $200, which is not going to happen, like then that's kind of an impulse buy territory. If they start pricing it like $500, $700, I don't think people are going to pick it up. They're just going to get an iPad. They've got to price it competitively to the iPad, even if it can't be compared directly.
They almost need to lose some money on it just so they can dig into that market a bit better.
Yep.
Absolutely. Otherwise, yeah, it's just not. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think people are going to pick it up. Even the idea of having it as like a home central kind of device or home central kind of screen, I don't think that's enough, personally. I also don't think there are enough people who have entered the giveaway for the Mandalorian $50 Visa gift card. So if you want to enter to get a $50 gift card, anywhere you can spend money on a Visa card, you are able to do it. Bang Visa. I'm sorry, Bang Tickets. No, there's no Bang Visa. Exclamation mark tickets. We'll enter you in. We'll do the drawing here in a little bit. And that is courtesy of Dinjarin. And
thanks,
Grogu.
Dan.
They sent the gift card. So
thanks Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thank them. Not you can't. They sent it. I'm very grateful. And this is a gift. It's just a random. It's a random gift. It's not. This giveaway is a gift. So I'm very happy to be able to facilitate this gift. Bang ticket in chat.
Bang Visa, look at that.
Is someone who's banging Visa?
Mine.
Oh, mine. My verbal typo there. Right, next. Let's see if I can. We've talked about the AI, and this is another interesting iteration. Microsoft unveiled an AI model that understands image content and solves visual puzzles. This is just, we're getting to the point where, do we need to think anymore?
I mean, really, it's problem solving now. So
do we need to think
at a rapid pace? This is happening.
Everything's happening all at once, which is incredible.
I know. We are on this cusp of so many things, like technology, but then like the whole health thing is going to boom too, like because they're leveraging technology every which way, 6 ways to Sunday. Hence what we talked about yesterday with the chip, right?
Yep.
And it's we're moving quickly, so I think we're going to see some pretty exciting things in the next few years, and hopefully for the better. And again, like I said, I hope that we're being cautious with it, but I'm not too optimistic about that because I think everybody's got their eye on wanting to be there first, right? So they're not really thinking about all the other repercussions of what they're doing. So it'll be interesting. We're in interesting times.
Yeah, we are. It's getting faster and faster and faster. These things are going to be upon us, and they're going to be integrated in such a way that we're not even going to have a chance to think about it or a chance to opt out. It's just going to happen. It's here.
Well, I just heard on I usually run our local radio station very low while I'm working, just on one of my little Google Homes that I have it there. Just some background noise, and I overheard the radio announcer talking about the who is it that patented or they're trying to go for the patent for the code or whatever for repossessing vehicles. So the self-driving vehicle.
Yes, it's Ford.
I saw that too. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't
because it's such a danger, right, for a repossessor, to come and try to get that. Like they're always putting themselves in harm's way, at gunpoint and everything else, because people are pretty cranky when they're getting their car taken back, right? And now it's like, you don't pay your bill, You're going to wake up the next day and it's not going to be in your driveway. So,
yeah, technology. Can't live with it. Can't live without it.
yeah.
It's true. I mean, I mean, I'm not a Tesla guy, but like people have had their cars bricked.
Yeah.
Software updates can do that. I mean, and you're used to it on a computer, but when everything becomes a computer,
yeah, the electric cars, it's like pretty much just wipe the slate clean of what you thought you knew about a mechanical vehicle, and now let's just reinvent the wheel is basically what they've done with technology with it, right? It still has 4 wheels and rolls down the road, but that's about the similarities where it ends.
Yeah, 404 error, engine not found. Yeah, that's good.
pretty
Fusion.
close.
Well, and what else is going to be put in? They're talking about all these things, and there's some good applications for it, like all these police chases that end in like nothing but carnage and everything. It's like a kill switch in the car,
Yep. That'll happen.
Yeah.
It's a given. I mean, it's not even a question of
and even if they can override it, remember your car is now all electric, and the car body is always on the negative end of the battery, so they can easily shoot something on it to zap it out as well, right? And kill it.
Yep, they can EMP it.
Yep.
Completely fry the whole system.
By the way, if I'm skipping over articles, it's because we've already covered them. Thank you, Yasir, for posting a few here on where all these articles are being pulled in by way of Discord. We've got 2 news channels. We've got Tech News TLDR, so that's where these articles get stacked for the day. But then we also have Tech News Stream, and that's where you see a lot of all the art in this down below me, right? The thing I'm going to move to the center here. You'll see headlines scrolling across the top of that particular session. That's being pulled in directly, and those are articles that are automated. So we've got 2 channels on Discord, one automated and one curated. But you just shared this. I was getting ready to wrap to do the giveaway here, but the cell phone inventor predicts future phones will live under our skin. I feel we're gonna do that, and I know people are like, no, I don't want to wear a chip. Well, maybe that's not our generation, but there's gonna come a time where we're going to have, whether it's augmented glasses, whether we need them or not, or some kind of implant to be able to have communication. Because I think this is a stopgap.
Yeah.
The phone, I don't think is going to be around for forever. So whether it's a chip
also
or wearable.
Yeah, and the other thing here is once it's on you, it's not as easy to remove from you, right?
Well, depending on how the upgrade happens, right? If it's like a thing where you can just go swipe it out, or if there's a bone conducting mechanism, where the contact under your skin hits a certain thing. I'm sure they'll all work it out, but I feel it'll happen sooner rather than later, and all just being automatic, and a lot more seamless. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but it may not be. I'm a different generation.
It's the whole thing about I don't know how, like, there's a lot of things that governments need to talk about and understand, and us, the people, need to be able to fight back if we, if it impedes on our freedoms, or are we going to roll over and just allow it to happen? Because, it's going to get to a point probably in our lifetime, where if they're looking for you or whatever, or for whatever reason, they just shut you down with everything. You won't be able to buy or sell anything. You won't be able to, and that will pretty much stop you from a lot of things at that point, right? If you can't even buy or sell anything, and in order to flush you out if you're into hiding or anything else. So the tracking part of it and your privacy is a big thing. I'm glad there is a lot of conversations around it, and a lot of it where it's been slow to come, but it's became an eye opener for a lot more people. And they're like, well, I'm not really okay with this, but it's like, well, technology went so fast and you weren't really aware of it, and now you're wanting to put the brakes on it a bit, or at least talk about it. And it's like you had mentioned before, that ship's kind of sailed about tracking you, right? So what do we do now?
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an interesting prediction. I mean, I don't think it's outlandish that we would see something like this. Transhumanism, like I said the other day, has been a thing for a while, and we're going to see more and more augmentation. Especially with companies, being experimental in this space, which is, on one hand, is exciting, but the flip side of the coin is it's frightening.
What is school going to be anymore? Like, are we going to be able
That's
to? I'm going to school, and you just upload your stuff, and by noon you've got everything uploaded, and you've got your degree.
Why do that when if you've got glasses or whatever, and you can just ask Chat GPT, get the response right there, right? Boom. It's going to happen. Everything is going to happen the way we're going, right? AI driving a lot of that intelligence, well, all the intelligence.
It's like
right?
we're not even going to be needed anymore.
That's
like machines will do everything, and technology.
Then? What happens then? What do we do?
What does that free us up to do, though?
That's
right?
What I'm saying. Like, do we become? Is that a utopian future where we're able to explore the galaxy or explore our interests? Right? What does that?
That would be a positive, right? Because then now you're not working to survive. You're working to better. It's almost like the whole Star Trek thing at that point, right? You're to better the human race, and that's why you'd work.
But to me, if there's an end game, that would be the end game, because commercialism won't work indefinitely. Capitalism will not work indefinitely.
No.
It's already at a breaking point.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it's. I mean, I look at inflation right now. It's just, oh my God, through the freaking roof, roof right now. It's incredible.
Yeah, it worries me that the tough times that we're going to be in for the next few years with the way that things are inflating. And there's I don't know if the problem, you've seen it in the US, but up here in Canada, a big thing is food. And we have a few big top companies that are food suppliers and own the grocery stores. And they're actually being dragged into questioning now from the government to understand why because their inflation, what they're putting on food right now, is not jiving with the numbers of what inflation actually is with the banks, and they're trying to figure out why, and what they're doing. But they're, people are knowing inflation's happening, so they're like, I guess this is what the price is now, and they're paying it, right? And they're just running away to the bank laughing, right? So, yeah, and meanwhile everybody's suffering, and the food banks are at their all-time worst there's people coming into the food banks saying, I used to give to the food bank, and now here I am actually, needing food from the food bank. And it's just, it worries me a lot.
This is a situation where it will get worse. I don't know if it's going to get better. It will get worse. I can't promise it's going to get better. It will get worse.
All these old systems of how we do things are just breaking down. And I think
AI is going to accelerate that.
Yep.
Easily. It already is.
Yep.
I mean, ChatGPT has entered our consciousness. Like, the idea that we can just, interact with a bot and get what we need from it is incredible. Incredible. Like a paradigm shift. And now that's going to be anywhere and everywhere. ChatGPT released their I want to say it was an API where you're able to build ChatGPT into your apps. You're going to see it everywhere. Everywhere. It's going to be in everything. Like, it's not a theoretical, it's a reality. So when we get to the point where we don't have to do the heavy lifting, right? I understand there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, but when we don't have to even worry about that wisdom, what's the point? So yeah, that will cause, I'm not going to say a societal collapse, but at the same time, how do you operate in a capitalist society where you can't get a job to pay the bills to keep up with inflation? Like, what happens? What happens when all that work goes to AI? What happens?
So maybe I hate to say it, but maybe we'll be seeing a rise up of people, like, because we have this global elite, right, that make stupid amounts of money, right? And that just doesn't need to happen anymore either, right? And it maybe needs to break down to the point where we're all on an even playing field, and like, a world where food doesn't cost anything, right? Like, to eat.
We have to get there. We have to get there.
We're not going to make it if we don't.
Just like with global warming, We will not
Yeah.
make it if we do not look past. And I'm not sitting here saying, hey, I got to pay bills. So I'm not sitting here, eschewing everything and saying, oh, just burn your money. But
It's
got to happen. It has to happen. And when you got AI, they're took our jobs. It's going to take jobs. And when you take those high paying jobs, like, where are people going to go? How are they going to get money? What are they going to do with their time? How are they going to? You got people who are making things to sell things, but if they're trying to sell to people who don't have the money, they can't sell. So like, it's going to break.
Yeah,
it's going to snap. And it's going to happen. Or I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Oh, I know. And if you thought that there's been a lot of digital disruption in the last few years, we ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, no,
right?
It's going to snap, and it's going to snap hard.
Like, nobody. And I don't want to put the fear into God, everybody, at this late in the hour, right? But it's just like, nobody. Don't ever feel like you're safe. Like, always have that backup plan of where else you can go, what you can do, and always better yourself, if you need to do career changes and whatever, because I'm not even naive, even where I am. Yeah. I could be kind of that way and say, hey, well, I'm a tech person. I'm well into it. I can easily kind of, evolve into all these other things. Well, that can only go so long too, because now we're seeing like machines are going to be able to code themselves. We're already seeing like things like self-healing, when something goes wrong, it fixes itself. So it's like, well, I don't need to troubleshoot anything. The machine just did it.
Where do we go? Who are we? What's our identity? How does society function when it can no longer function? And we're $7 for a dozen eggs.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm so glad I'm vegan. You thought vegan? Yeah, vegan being it's expensive to be vegan. $7 for a dozen eggs.
And I don't want to get into the conspiracy theory stuff, but there was a weird thing that's been going on where a lot of chicken farmers have been yelling about that their chickens just stopped laying eggs. And they're what's this phenomena that they're starting to and then that's what they were saying is what's driven that price up a bit. But it's coming down to the chicken feed and where they're buying their chicken feed from, because some of the farmers said, I just stopped. He said, I've been feeding my chickens for years with this stuff, and something's different with the blend. And I don't want to point fingers, but it may be coming out, from another country, right? And so anyway, the biggest fix that a lot of farmers have been putting out there now is just like, start feeding your chickens this and get away from that. And I guarantee if you're using this or this, that's why. So there's been a bit of a shortage there.
Or just stop eating eggs. I mean, it's not that it's challenging right now, but it's not that hard. I mean, really, I've done it. It's possible to do. Things are going to get worse. Oh my God, things are going to get worse, and AI is going to help. So we're enjoying it, but at the same time, we're like applauding our own destruction.
If we move in the right direction with everything, it's like to be very optimistic is just weather it, because it's growing pains, right?
Yeah.
And somehow we're going to get through it. We've human race has been through a hell of a lot of things.
We have
to. Time, right? I think we will. It's just. There will need to. But the thing is what I want to see crumble too is the leadership, because the global circus right now with our global leaders, they all get an F, in my opinion, failure. And the runners up for like in a year or two's time, like for who they're bringing in, are you kidding me? Like, we need some really good smart people, and maybe that needs to look different too.
Well, money. It comes down to money, and when the financial system collapses, again, I'm not trying to veer into conspiratorial territory. I'm talking about reality. AI is going to replace people. It is going to replace jobs. You can't even talk about retraining, because the retraining of, like, let's say coal miners, right, to learn how to work on electric, or to translate their skills into another craft or trade. Like, AI can replace a writer. Will it replace all writing? No. Will it replace enough people? Yeah. And when AI gets smart enough to replace all those people that were getting paid money for their trade or craft, where do they go? What do they train for? What are they supposed to do with that? All that. What do they do? Where do you go? How do you pull that off? And especially if you're used to it, if your lifestyle is, let's say, at this level, but you can only get paid at this level. I mean, it's going to snap.
I wonder where the realization is going to come for, the people that are the big players in this AI right now, because money is the biggest driver for them right now to push this, right? I want to be first. I want to be the one, I'll make all kinds of money, but yet it's going to collapse the financial system. So are you going to make money? You're going to be in the same boat as everybody else in the end, right? Like
it's playing the game while we can play the game.
Yep.
It's a question of, because something's going to happen. I mean, it's just,
we're in interesting times.
I mean, everyone's going to quit their job and go work for McDonald's. Even McDonald's is automating stuff. All the fast food restaurants are going to automate it. You're not going to have human beings. So all that labor, where does it go? But robots are going to take our jobs. And this is not me saying let's rise up against the robots. I'm just saying robots will take our jobs. AI will take our jobs. Technology will replace us. So what do we do then? And what's that tipping point when that happens? No one knows. I don't have the answer to that question. I'm just saying you're deluding yourself if you don't think that's where we're going.
Can't be a financial system at that point. Like once all that is in place and is working, there's no need for a financial. Like how would you? Because no one would be making money at that point because they wouldn't be doing any work to or giving any service or anything, right?
That's what I'm saying. What do you do? Like at what point? Like you can't. You might be an artist. Hey, look, I'll sell you my amazing 3D printed Darth Vader. That's great. But if you don't have a job, you can't pay for it. So what's the point of me making something to sell? Ain't nobody to sell it to.
And forget about you even making it, right? Like the robot will make 100 of them anyway, right? Or whatever.
It's gonna get. I mean, this doesn't keep me up.
But yet we have the jokers of the world, running. So I don't know. I feel like good people are going to stand up and there has to be some great discussions in that, because it's going to accelerate so much, and then it's going to just hurt so much. We're going to go through a lot of growing pains, and then there's got to be a lot of people having good discussions about, like, now what do we do?
There has to have been, like,
because wouldn't it come to a grinding halt too, though? Because
that's what I'm saying.
If they're going to keep saying, like, hey, you, even if the robots are doing all the jobs and everything, right? If they're making a product of any sort, how are they to give? Like, are they giving that stuff away at that point?
Like, you can build it, but if no one can buy it, okay, this is a perfect. I was here, so I wasn't sure where this would fit. But this is a great way to kind of cap things off. And I'm sorry this is so late for the people who stayed for the giveaway.
Yeah.
But over 30 million worth of Funkos are headed for a landfill. So they made all this stuff and it's just going in the trash. Like, people can't, either they're expensive and everything's going up. Everything. Or just too much inventory. Right? So it's just getting trashed. So over the long run, 99% of Funkos are worthless outside of whatever depraved joy fans get from occasionally making eye contact with the ones lining their shelves, right? So they're collectibles, right? Yep. They're fun. But when you make too much of it, it goes to the landfill. Just like I love Hasbro. If I ever had a chance to work for Hasbro, I absolutely would. But seeing 2 Black Series figures on Amazon that look nice, that I would get, but selling for like $75 for the pair, I'm like, for carbonized versions, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a completist anymore. No way in hell.
No.
Can't do it. No way. The prices have moved too far north. So as much as I would love to bring this plastic into my life, I'm like, I'm not going to spend that Grogu right there $5, but they're not going to sell it for $5.
No.
Right? Or you get lucky to get it for $5.
Lord knows what it costs them to make anyway.
Right. So, this is it's all the same. We're talking about the same kind of thing, just in different, in different ways. But yeah, I mean, you've got people that are the companies that are making things that we can't afford anymore, even if we'd want to afford them. So then they made it, and what do they do with it? Well, they can't give it away, so they're going to throw it away, which I think is BS, by the way. I think it's total BS.
Well, and how is that going to be for the company? They can only take hits like that so often before they're done too, right?
Definitely. I mean, I tracked it.
This is the thing, right? Where it's just like the greed is there. Well, maybe I don't want to say there's a level of greed, right? But it's a system. Yeah.
It's the system. So I'm not going to say, I know you're using the word, and I think you're using that in a fair context, but we also play the same game because we have to play the game, right? We have to play the game. It's the question of what's going to break and what's going to snap before the game can no longer be played. And I think this is the kind of thing that we're getting closer and closer and closer to no longer being able to play the game.
Yeah, because when things get real bad, we're only going to be spending what we can on survival.
Yep.
There will be no more fun or anything, right? Like, or entertainment stuff, or it'll be at a very minimal, right? And just buying something like that will just not be.
I would love to go to Disneyland or Disney World, but like I would have to earmark like what, $5,000, $10,000 to go on a family vacation? That's freaking outrageous.
Yeah.
Especially on a single family income.
Yep.
Like I hate to break it to everybody, including my family. I am not made of money.
No.
Like, I don't want to work for the rest of my life until I die.
No.
So
I know we're at that age, right? Where it's just like, and people are like, yeah, when you start getting past the 40, like even in your 40s, you're thinking about that, right? I know it's a long way out, but you're just like, man, I don't want to work forever. And, say goodbye to early retirement, I think. I don't think there's any way I'm going to be able to do that. At one time, I thought it would be a possibility for me, but not anymore. I'll be lucky if 65 I am ready to go.
Yeah,
I'll make sure that I am. Like, I'll try and do that, right? But if I've got to scale back on things, then so be it.
I think if I have a benchmark, it's like there's no way I think it's going to happen before. I would love 60. But I just have this, my gut tells me there's no way it's going to happen before 65.
Yeah.
My gut.
Freedom 55. I think that was some lucky baby boomers that were able to do that. I don't think we're going to see that anymore with, the general public.
Glendon, shut up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Chime in here on your thoughts on
it. I mean, you guys have covered everything. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, you got to read in. We're two big talkers here, so sometimes it's
okay. It's okay. Listen,
got to remember other people are in the room here.
No, don't worry about it at all. No worries.
All right, so we've definitely covered so much tonight. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do the giveaway, and so thank you everybody. If you bang ticket, I'm going to give you another minute or so before I close the giveaway and draw the recipient. Again, thanks to the Mandalorian, Din Djarin himself, and Grogu for sending it along. And I'm very happy to pass that along to one of y'all out there. And thank you for participating. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching this stream. Thank you for keeping it open. Thank you for participating in the stream. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for, if you're subscribed on Twitch or following. I did something earlier today, and I think we'll do it moving forward, where we've now got, at least in the can, 7 TLDR episodes. It's in a playlist. So when I'm asleep, or and so I got to tell this to Kieran, right? I don't know how else to handle this, because we've got to figure out how to do it directly. But basically, and we've talked about doing this on MakerDeck for some time. It's just that I don't think the relationships have been solid. But we'll be playing back TLDR episodes when I'm asleep or I'm AFK. We'll be playing not constantly, so that way, even if people are able to tune in or tune out, they're able to catch something, even if someone's not talking on the microphone. Talking on the microphone will immediately supersede, someone who might be rebroadcasting a TLDR episode. But all the more reason to do TLDR, if only to have that in the bank to replay reruns, right? So you might catch something you didn't catch before, or it kicks up a new chat. So it'll be, we're adding another layer of interactivity to the 24/7 experience, which is, so it'll be fun. And even Glendon, I even suggested when he's doing his tech. Do you have a next tech talk staged on one topic or another?
I'm going to set it up for Saturday tomorrow.
Okay. What are you thinking?
Well, I've got 2 or 3 in the can.
Oh, great. For ideas to talk about.
For ideas, yeah.
He'll be basically, like we do TLDR. He'll basically be recording his chats too, so that when he'll be able, on his end, he might be able to vacillate between playing back TLDR and or playing back the stuff that he did, the Tech Talk stuff. So again, there's always something that we've got going that could be added to with every passing day or week, but always have that foundation there, so that we've always got some amount of lively chat or content that's engaging. So CNIP, the idea is we can never go too deep into one thing or another, because inevitably that will play back just as well. Because I feel a lot of what we cover is not just in the moment, but it's also potentially ad infinitum. A lot of the topics that we might be covering beyond the higher level, Google's doing this or Apple's doing that.
Yeah.
Some of these topics that we really get, into, I feel have a great degree of playback value.
For sure.
All right. So closing the giveaway in 3, 2, 1, drawing a recipient. See, I was going to grab, I was looking for a Grogu. Do I have a Grogu around here? I was going to grab one, but I guess I'm not going to be cute. Drawing a recipient in 3, 2, 1. Skepta. He's still playing. Skepta needs to take a break from playing his,
Congratulations.
Hit pause. He's paused. Skepta. He paused at the right time.
Yay.
There he is.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Din. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. I never win any of these. That is awesome. Thank you.
So I love it. And this is the reason I'm a big believer in not wanting to give things to people. This is going to come out wrong, but who don't deserve it, in the sense that I got a $50 gift card. I didn't really tweet about it. Didn't really post a Mastodon about it. I posted in Discord. I tagged everybody on Discord. I also said here. I gave people plenty of opportunities and plenty of chances. It was primarily promoted here and for the people who listen, for a reason. I know I could use it as an audience builder for sure, but I know y'all are hardcore. Y'all tune in. Y'all watch. Many of you are here on a daily basis. Skepta, I'm glad it's you. And not to say that the people who can't participate aren't. Everybody who's here is absolutely, I feel, deserving of that gift. Absolutely. Everybody, because everybody I saw, okay, I know that. I know all y'all. As opposed to Joe Rando, who joined because they heard of a giveaway. I'm not into to elevating those people, because I feel like it takes away from that community building spirit. So I also appreciate at a deeper level that Skepta, you've jumped in, you've joined chat, you've had a lot of positive feedback, a lot of impact, and the fact that you're actually providing entertainment when I can't be here as well as when I am here makes that gift even more sweet to me. So that's my perspective on giveaways. If at some point I do promote a giveaway on Twitter, don't slag me for it. It might very well happen, or Mastodon or the newsletter or whatever. It's just that I felt like this was just worth, this is starting. Let's keep it to ourselves and make it to everybody. I've been talking about this for the live thing for a month-ish or so, and certainly been doing it for weeks. So this shouldn't come to us as a surprise to anybody. No one can complain and say, you didn't let us know. I did. You couldn't be there. That's fine. But I gave everybody an equal opportunity. Everybody. And that's the way a gift goes. I gave everybody an equal opportunity. So congratulations. I'll get the information from you in the back channels to get that facilitated. It's electronic that I know of, so it should be an instantaneous type of transaction when it happens. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in for the special TLDR that did run long, but we did have Mando to talk through. Had those geeky conversations, but the tech news that we covered, I feel, was a massive payoff. Even if you did not get the literal payoff, if I can say that, the $50 gift card from Din and Grogu. Obviously, I'm being facetious. Fictitious characters cannot send money, certainly not from a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. So don't anybody think that technology exists yet. It might happen. ChatGPT 4.0, maybe. We'll introduce that technology. Thank you, CNIP. Thank you, Glendon. I don't know if we want to dive into the tech deals today. Glendon, what do you think?
Nah, let's hold off.
Hold off. So you're going to get double the tech deals tomorrow.
Late. Yeah, we'll double
which is
them up.
good. We've got plenty stacked. If you want the tech deals now, you can pop into Discord. Of course, you can also subscribe to the Chris Pirillo Universe email newsletter. If you look at my bio link, it's easy to, I think you can just do a bang bio in chat and get that link. And I think I've got it pretty much on all of my descriptions everywhere. The Discord channel, I think, is linked there, or it should be. But thank you, one and all, for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. I love you. I appreciate you. But at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, and may the force be with you always. We are typically talking tech in chat. We're playing video games, geeking out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.